NBA viewership is down 28%.
There's a great debate going on why our ratings are down.
Because everybody wants to shoot threes.
It's not really relevant sometimes.
It's expensive to watch games now.
Do you think that the NBA is in the best place it's been since you took over as commissioner?
Why is no one watching the NBA? I mean, people are clearly watching, but as I'm sure you've already heard, ratings are down 48% from the last 12 years, down 10% when comparing it to last year's in-season tournament, and my God, people are letting it be known why they think the ratings are down, including me, obviously. But truthfully, I think there's some outrageous reasons being thrown out that have to be actually researched and addressed. So that's what I did. After hours of research, I found 7 main reasons being tossed around all forms of media. After more and more thought though, I felt best condensing it down to 3 main reasons as to why the ratings have dipped. Reason 1 being the least talked about, to then climbing our way up to reason 3 being what everyone is attributing the lack of viewers for. So with that, what is happening to NBA viewership? If you're new to the NBA or just watch from afar and don't know, a full NBA regular season consists of 82 games. And if your team is good, those 82 games could be followed by 4 rounds of playoff basketball, each round having the chance to reach up to 7 games. Meaning, a player could potentially play up to a max of 110 games in one season on one team, which obviously is crazy and rare, but those games played can get up ridiculously high. Recent examples like Mikal Bridges in the 2021 season playing 94 total games, or LeBron playing 97 games in the infamous 2016 season. Slightly dated but even higher examples include Paul Pierce hitting 106 total games played in 08 and Tayshaun Prince reaching 107 games played in the 2005 season. For comparison, the NFL, who I would consider to be the NBA's biggest rival, plays only 17 regular season games with a max total 21 total potential games played.
4 or 5 years ago, and that's trying to figure out how to drum up attention for the regular season. How do we make the regular season matter more?
All 82 games do matter, and I can prove that from what we just saw last year. Do you know how many games back the 7th seed 76ers were from being a 2 seed in last year's playoffs? 3. Only 3 games made the difference from being a play-in team to having a home court advantage all playoffs outside of Boston. Not to mention, there was a 3-way tie for the 5 seed, again, which would allow you to avoid any play-in game scenario. So I think what happens is a lot of hindsight bias come late April when all of a sudden that 47-year-old from Gary, Indiana realizes, oh, that Jazz game we lost back in January actually did matter. I think another reason season length is brought up as a motive for the low ratings is just the insane amount of injuries throughout the regular season. Only 17 players in the entire NBA played all 82 games last year. Only 7 of those 17 played more than 25 minutes a game. Those 17 players wouldn't even fill up one NBA team. In case you were unaware, last year Adam Silver and the NBA implemented a 65-game rule, meaning to qualify for any major awards like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, or more importantly, qualify for a Supermax extension, you have to play in at least 65 games. And at least according to Basketball Reference, out of the 572 players that played in the NBA last year, only 184 would have met that 65-game mark. That is 32% of the league. Not even a third of NBA players played 65 or more games last year. And if you thought the 23 or 22 season was just drastically worse, you're wrong. 2023 saw 180 players play 65 or more, and 2022 saw 175 meet that same goal. And at the time, and even now, that 65 game rule is great. It curbs load management, which was rampant across the league and was put in place to emphasize the regular season even more. But similar to Father Time, you can't run away from the injury bug. Even this season, we're about 25 games in at the time of writing this, and Joel, Kawhi, Banchero, Chet, PG, Zion, Scotty, and Porzingis have all played less than 15 games this season. And you can't stop or really prevent injuries, especially in a contact sport, but a way to at least dampen the potential load is to probably not have a 82 game season. That's for later though, when I give you my solution to this whole mess. So to quick recap reason 1 here, 82 games in an NBA regular season, and all 82 games matter, but it's much more of an illusion compared to the easier, more digestible 17 game format in the NFL. The NBA is getting dunked on, especially this year, when compared to the NFL. And Adam Silver tried curbing stars missing games, but injuries are inevitable in a league where schedule makers have a team playing every other day or even back-to-back for a month straight. Fans of the NBA, their opinion on the league's presentation of professional basketball is pretty cooked at this point, to be honest. Now, I know this isn't the most popular reason yet as to why the league's viewership is declining, but it does have the most subcategories attached to its broad catch-all title. And the first of the 3 subcategories I want to go over in terms of presentation is
accessibility.
I'm going to be honest here. I think most smart mega corporations are mega because they know the average American consumer can't handle complicated things. And to prove that, we're going to do a fun little exercise here in this video. You are now a 41-year-old divorced man from Spread Eagle, Wisconsin. That is, of course, a Packers and Bucks fan. Lucky for you, then alimony kicked in, and you hooked up your little bachelor pad with a 98-inch TCL that has YouTube TV for a year. Now, while waiting in line on a Sunday at 8 a.m. with your 24-pack of Spotted Cow to drown out the loneliness, you overhear that there's a Bucks game on tonight a little after the Packer game at noon. You get back to sign up and create an account for YouTube TV through your TV, and within minutes, the new home screen opens up and you're immediately greeted with options between Fox or CBS Sports. You click Fox Sports because in 85 font it says Bears at Packers. That's it. You're literally set. And because the Packers play mainly on Sundays with the slight Monday or Thursday curveball, you're good as Green Bay Gold to never miss a game. Games wrapped up. Packers, of course, beat the Bears.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Now onto Bucks basketball. You go back to the home screen, you see Bucks at Kings on NBA TV. Perfect. Before you click, you crack another cow, you're ready to get freaky. But then, uh-oh, welcome to Blackout City. Get that alimony money really is hitting different though, so you sign up for NBA League Pass quick, you download the app on that new TCL, fire it up, log in, click Bucks at Kings. Oops, must have pulled a U-turn because we're back at Blackout City. I hope you get what I'm trying to paint here. Watching the NFL is miles more accessible than the NBA. Again, at the time of writing this, to watch the Bucks' next 3 games, you would have to have YouTube TV, some form of cable, and FanDuel Sports Network. Also, there's not a single rhyme or reason as to what day your team will play, making, again, the average American consumer feel completely lost. Compared to Sunday, maybe Monday or Thursday. That's it. And to have that Sunday time slot where that same American consumer base isn't at work, it's huge. This is all without mentioning, and maybe it's just a me issue, but the NBA app itself, at least on my smart TV, doesn't even work. Anytime I try and load up a game on it, the broadcast just turns into an actual PowerPoint slide, which paying nearly $18 a month to only be forced to resort to watching a Clippers game on my phone would probably force a lot of people to try other ways of viewing. Now, I have never illegally streamed a game. Only have heard things from a friend through a friend. I mean, it's technically been around since the 1980s, really took off over the last decade, but now what would normally deter people from even thinking of illegally streaming a game is a thing of the past. Even the not safe for work ads or the steroided Modern Warfare 2 live chat has somehow become like a cozy aspect to the entire experience. So if there's no buffering, and let's be honest, no real consequences, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious why a chunk of the NBA's audience could be missing from these ratings. Again, I live in Wisconsin. If I was a Bucks fan wanting to watch my own local NBA team and games outside of the Bucks, it would cost me over $100 a month. But I do think there's a catch-22 here. The NFL viewing experience is just as expensive, if not more expensive, But I think the NFL's main demographic still views illegal streaming like it's some complicated futuristic from Tron. Because the strong counter argument to saying that illegal streaming is what's hurting the NBA is it's clearly not affecting the NFL or MLB. And again, that's probably due to both of those leagues' main demo, but tying it back to reason one, if your favorite player keeps missing games due to injury, or if you can't keep up with the Yahtzee-like NBA schedule, watching games for free seems a lot better than investing $110 every single month for an unpredictable product. Whether you pay or don't pay, one thing remains a constant, especially as of late when watching a nationally televised NBA game. Out of all the topics discussed today, this is easily the most opinionated based, and I don't know how much it's actually affecting the ratings. I will say though, the NBA would have been had they not reached an agreement to keep Inside the NBA running. Because, I'm gonna be honest, ESPN looks lost right now trying to cover marquee games. They have no identity. Malika, Bob Myers, Stephen A, and Kendrick Perkins. Where I think I disagree with people is the opinion of ESPN's commentary crew. I think Mike Breen, Ryan Rucco, Dave Pasch, and Mark Jones arguably are better than even TNT's commentary group as a whole. Not to mention the apparently polarizing Doris Burke, which I personally don't get because I think she's incredible. And I didn't even know the extent of this while it happened live, but I guess during game one of last year's finals on ABC and ESPN, nearly 73% of the halftime coverage was ads, making that almost 11 out of the 15 minutes just straight up commercials or sponsor shoutouts. You could tell the NBA is feeling the heat too. Just as of a few weeks ago, they released a whole separate broadcast that makes the live game look like 2K, which, not for me personally, but I do like it better than a Simpsons broadcast. I just feel like I had to bring up in-game coverage because it does add or take away from your viewing experience, but I don't know as though people are not watching the NBA this year because of Big Perk yapping during halftime. So to recap all of reason 2 here, not only is watching all 82 games of your local NBA team expensive, to the average American viewer, it's complicated and frustrating, which as a result, I feel like is leading viewers to just dropping the NBA altogether or finding other creative ways to catch games. And when they do tune in, especially to a national game on a Friday night, I think a lot of people have their TVs and monitors muted when halftime rolls around. My God, everyone and their sister, brother, cousin is talking about how NBA basketball is played today. If you even sniff around the topic of why the ratings are down, you will be bombarded by the stench of writers, analysts, Redditors talking about the three-point shot. I truly can't remember in my 15 years of watching NBA basketball, this many people upset about a singular aspect of the game. And that's including James Harden drawing 100 fouls a game, players committing fouls to stop fast break opportunities, not being able to challenge fouls, things that have actually been fixed by Adam Silver, and I think people have already forgotten that. I don't think these same people talking about the three-point shot remember how widespread the James Harden foul bait move was. I bring that up because I think there is so much nostalgia at play here, just completely masking the past and diluting our current present. And I know you've seen the teams are taking 15 more threes since 2014 stat, or that the big, bad, scary Celtics are on pace to average the most threes attempted in a season ever. I don't know if these people are just box score hunting, but have you watched Celtics basketball? Their ball movement is impeccable, and people get pressed about them running a 5-out some plays, but when every player 1 through 5 can hit the 3 ball, you would be stupid not to force the opposing defense to cover damn near half the court. If you want to get me jazzed up, just say the sentence,
NBA players don't play defense anymore.
The way that spirals me every time I hear it, I think I'd trade my life away to see John Stockton try and stay in front of Ant, or Larry Bird try and stop Giannis on a fast break. Also, you probably remember last year how historic that Pacers offense was last year, right? What maybe you didn't know was they didn't even crack top 5 of all time in points per game. No, the Denver Nuggets 40 years ago hold that record. And hand checking and hard fouls definitely produced a different game in the early 90s to mid 2000s. And I think to a degree, hand checking should be brought back. But to act like we're not seeing the most athletic, diverse ways of scoring on a nightly basis is just plain ignorant. So yeah, when you have a 7-footer like Cat or Wemby that can neutralize a paint protector like Rudy, by all means, pull up from 23 feet. Steph Curry is arguably the most influential player the league has ever had. And that's not a new take either, but the way that narrative has especially spun into a negative light and is being applied to guys like Cat and Wemby is a whole new recent spin on the Curry influence take. And outside of the general public, Shaq and Charles have been the most vocal about big men taking threes. But what I would love to counter with is Joel Embiid, clearly been in and out of the Sixers lineup this year with multiple injuries. The three ball is what's going to save his knees and back during an 82 game plus season. And young guys like Wemby are taking note. During his rookie season, he averaged 5.5 3-pointers attempted a game. Already pretty high volume. This year, 9.5 3-pointers attempted a game. I know for a fact that's got old heads pressed, but it's smart in the current 82 game format from an organizational standpoint to even a gameplay standpoint. It opens up the paint and guards and wings have no chance to contest his shot. So why am I bringing up Shaq, Wemby, and Steph? Because like how I kicked off this reason, it feels like every single comment regarding the ratings decline has some mention of the three-point shot. What people don't realize though is that exciting Anthony Edwards poster that everyone's craving to see most likely happened because of the respect of the three ball. And Cam Johnson echoes this perfectly.
Former players are like, okay, this was more exciting. Random people be like, it was more exciting back then. It was more exciting. We want to see dunks. We want to see this. The reason we have dunks is because the floor is spaced right now and you can go and dunk. Like when the paint is really, really crowded, you're not getting that athletic play that you so like desperately want.
But with everything into consideration, season length, presentation, style of play, how do you fix the NBA? First off, there's no singular solution, obviously, but there are multiple things Adam could do to help the league. The first reason mentioned today might be the least talked about, but I think it's the most vital to the NBA's success. It's the most star-driven league. There's no hiding that. So when you have your stars in street clothes because 82 games for a contact sport is insane, you have to shorten the season. I'll asterisk this right away by saying this won't happen because of the financial implications, but the NBA regular season needs to be 55 games. As an NBA rat, it pains me to say that, but it makes way too much sense. Not only would it create a healthier league, you could also address the accessibility issues that I mentioned before. On Sundays and Mondays, you're not going to beat the NFL. So instead, start the season on Christmas Eve and Christmas, have the finals start in July, and during the regular season, especially, play specifically on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Immediately, to the casual fan, every regular season game now has immense value. The NBA faces no real competition on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, even NFL fans hate TNF, and Saturdays would face off against college football, but I think having star players avoid back-to-backs outweighs playing instead on Fridays. But I'll be honest, I don't know as a whole how you solve the NBA's presentation and accessibility problem. The only thing for certain I would change, but again, I don't even know as though you can change, is having League Pass not black out local games. As for everything else regarding that reason too though, you really can't stop illegal streaming. And while it feels like a solid group of viewers can't stand ESPN's NBA coverage, we all can at least look forward to Inside the NBA joining ABC and ESPN next year. Now, regarding style of play, one thing's for certain. Adding a cap to how many threes you can make or take makes me want to be obliterated by a Ford Fiesta. Same goes for adding a 4-point line or pushing back the current 3-point line or even removing the corner 3 altogether. I hate all those. Instead, I would tweak hand checking, allow for more restriction of movement without the ball, and I would make illegal screens a main point of emphasis. I think all 3 of those adjustments would have a positive impact without making a regular season game feel like a game of NBA Jam. Truthfully, there's a lot of things the NBA needs to work on. Topics that I didn't even bring up today, like how painfully bad the league is mishandling marketing guys like Wemby, Banchero, and Şengün. But I think that's for a different day. So to overall recap, shorten the season to 55 games, start the season on Christmas Eve and Christmas, play on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, remove the local blackouts on League Pass, and just tweak some things in the rulebook on how defense is played. But I want to hear from you. Why do you think NBA viewership is down? Genuinely, please leave a comment down below. I've been obsessed with this topic all season long so far. I've been loving hearing people's opinion on the league. Outside of that, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you're not subscribed, dude, I literally have a degree in casual takes. You're gonna want to subscribe and hit that like button. But that's officially it for me today. I will see y'all in the next one.